11ALIVE is working to get you answers about a possible wastewater facility some fear could threaten one of Georgia's most pristine rivers. It's not only sparking worry in Franklin Springs, it's also got 5 other communities along the Broad River concerned. Caitlin Ross reveals what's really in store for the river.
I love the sound. Everything about it is just peaceful.
The Broad River flows through the heart of the Crump family.
Picnics, cookouts, you name it.
That's why they didn't want to believe rumors of a chicken rendering plant and a wastewater facility built near the river.
Is this true? Could somebody really do something so bad to our local community?
The Broad is one of the last clean, free-flowing rivers in Georgia. That's why people are working so hard to protect it.
Multiple emails, phone calls, and all we do is get a runaround. There's a lot of tension
and fear.
I worry about the air that I breathe.
Megan Crump was diagnosed with pulmonary hypertension last year, a serious, incurable lung disease. She says her doctor told her if heavy industry comes to Franklin Springs, she'll have to leave.
For somebody to say that this is not detrimental, well, if your wife was diagnosed with pulmonary hypertension, it's detrimental.
Through open records, 11ALIVE found the city did file paperwork with the Environmental Protection Division mentioning a rendering plant. Residents say they feel they can't get a straight answer about what may be happening and asked 11ALIVE for help.
I want clear answers. I want honest answers.
I don't know how or why it got started.
We took their concerns for the community directly to Mayor Lee Moore.
There's no Pilgrim's Pride plant coming to Franklin Springs or Franklin County.
Is there a poultry plant that's coming?
No, ma'am. There's no plant in the works that has anything to do with poultry, any industry at all right now.
But Mayor Moore says people don't believe that, and his family has been threatened over the rumors. He installed a weapons detection system at City Council for the first time in his 16-year tenure.
Our home has to be checked on every day with local law enforcement because of these threats.
Do you take those threats seriously?
Absolutely. Absolutely.
But while the mayor insists no industry is coming,
we want to keep our people here to work.
He's clear about his goal, growth.
We want the right business, but we're going to hold that business accountable. But we're going to continue to move forward.
I can relax and just breathe.
For families like the Crumps, it's not just about business. It's about the river that raised them and the legacy they're fighting to protect.
There is political people that have more power than we do, but we also know that when we stand together and unite, we can be powerful ourselves.
Caitlin, I'm just listening to both sides of the story here, which is so important. But how did all this get started? Because here we have the mayor very forcefully saying, as we heard there, that there is no chicken plant. There is no industrial wastewater treatment facility coming, but the residents, they really believe that it was. So let's kind of get into what's behind the scenes, some of that information on how this is all playing out.
Yeah, that's such an important question because this did get really confused between the residents and people in Franklin Springs. They just didn't feel like they were getting a straight answer because they found out about this proposed development through an open records request, not from the mayor or any elected official. The mayor signed off on a request to the Environmental Protection Division to use the Broad River to get rid of wastewater. Because the EPD has to review all of those plans before an industry can even start to build. And that is where they got that request from. And so it got really confusing because the residents panicked when they saw those documents. But the mayor says it was an exploration of development, not a done deal.
I don't know how or why it got started. The thing is, with any of the industries that we talked to, we never got to the point where it needed to be discussed.
But the residents really feel differently. They think they should be included in these talks and have a say about the development in their own neighborhood.
Is this true? Could somebody really do something so bad to our local community? You wonder, could they actually truly want to pollute such a clean river? That's the frustrating part, is answers. That's what we haven't gotten. Multiple questions have been asked, multiple emails, phone calls, and all we do is get a runaround. There's a lot of tension. People are worried for their homes. They're worried for their local communities.
Yeah, and you see why he's so passionate, Caitlin. We understand that his wife that we saw there in the story, she does have some serious health concerns that her doctor even flagged about these potential developments, you know, a chronic condition. but feels like, you know, the health concerns are just kind of being overlooked and they want people to start speaking out about it.
Well, Aisha, that's exactly right, because she has this really serious health concern. She was diagnosed with pulmonary hypertension. It's an incurable lung disease, and her doctor really felt that if this chicken rendering plant came to Franklin County, she would have to leave.
I had talked to my pulmonologist, and I was told that if a rendering plant and or processing plant were to come to this area, that I would have to move and relocate just due to health reasons and my lung issue. So it's very alarming to me, and so it's very personal to me.
Whenever something's going to affect your wife, it's personal. And for somebody to say that this is not detrimental, well, if your wife was diagnosed with pulmonary hypertension, it's detrimental.
Yeah, and now the mayor said this is personal to him as well. He says his family has gotten threats over this whole ordeal.
Yeah, it's really gotten out of hand on both sides here. He says his family have been subject to threats online that have caused real security concerns. He even had a weapons detection system set up in City Hall because he says he is that worried about it.
My wife, who is a teacher, has had to have a deputy sheriff checking on her at school every day, which is ridiculous. Our home has to be checked on every day with local law enforcement because of these threats. The people that have made these threats and the people that are doing these things, it's just bullying and intimidation. It doesn't make me feel good at all, you know, but I try to stay strong for them. I don't let them see me upset.
Do you take those threats seriously?
Absolutely, absolutely.
Wow, this is really escalated here. Where does everything stand now?
Well, I think both sides are hoping for more clear communication. They want to reach some sort of understanding about how this possible development will be discussed in the future. Because the mayor was really clear that he wants industry to come to Franklin Springs. So they have about 9,000 people in that county that leave the county every single day to go to work because there isn't enough industry there in their town and their county for people to work where they live. So they want to bring industry into the county so people can stay to work where they live. But they agree that whatever industry that is needs to be held accountable. So we're talking environmentally, we're talking responsibility to the community, all of those things have to be agreed upon before they bring that industry in. So I think the people who live there are really just hoping for more clear communication and more information up front. So instead of finding out about these proposed developments via an open records request, they want the mayor to come directly to them and say, hey, here's what we're thinking, what do you think about it? And then get feedback back and forth. The mayor says that's not always how government works, and he's trying his best to keep people informed.
And we see that all the time, you know, hey, a community forum or a community meeting to get your feedback before we sign off on an idea. More than anything, if you're paying, you know, property taxes somewhere, you're putting your money into this community, you want to be a part of, you know, how it's being developed, especially if there are health implications for you and your family.
Right, exactly. And I think that's what they were so clear about was if this is going to be a health implication, if this is an environmental concern, we really need to know that up front and we need to make informed decisions for our family. But just looking at how far out of hand this got, I think both the mayor and the residents agree there needs to be clearer communication from the jump. If you drive through Franklin County, you see these huge signs everywhere saying stop the rendering, stop the rendering. I mean, hundreds of them all over everyone's property. And the mayor is saying there was never a poultry plant coming. So you can just see how disjointed that communication got and how misunderstood both sides feel right now. So I'm hoping that by sitting down and getting answers, this could be a clearer path forward for them.
Definitely got to open up the lines of communication. We hope they work it out. Reaching the point of threats, we never want to see that in families getting involved. All right, Caitlin, thank you for looking into this for our viewers. You know, this is really the content that we need, just kind of taking a deeper dive into these issues that are impacting where we live, work, and play. You can always find this kind of content only on 11 Alive.